Shocking new updates have been revealed about the child abuse arrest of YouTube mom Ruby Franke, who shot to fame through family vlogging on social media, as well as Jodi Hildebrand, her business partner. We have some more shocking updates on this 8-passenger situation. We're going to be talking about Ruby's nephew speaking out, as well as a cellmate speaking out on her few-day encounter with Ruby Franke in the jail cell. 3 years ago, Ruby Franke had one of the most popular channels on YouTube with over 2.5 million subscribers. And fast forward to today, the mommy vlogger finds herself behind bars, denied bail as she awaits trial on 6 charges of severe child abuse. Her second trial is supposed to be on September 19th, which is just about a day from now, so we'll see how that ends up going. This turning point in her life arrived when her 12-year-old son managed to escape through her and her business partner Jodi's Utah home window, seeking assistance from a nearby neighbor. The concerned neighbor described the distressing situation to authorities, stating that the child appeared to be malnourished and emaciated with duct tape around his legs. From then on, the cops were of course called, and both Ruby and Jodi were taken into custody. These women are facing accusations of mistreating the 12-year-old boy who made the escape, as well as his 10-year-old sister. Ruby Franke, renowned for her strict parenting methods, left her family members utterly stunned by the allegations of abuse. These two launched a channel called Connections, and people were calling it a cult because of the way that they were preaching about parenting, as well as the way they were speaking on kids, completely neglecting their emotions, preaching severe methods of punishment, and much worse. Some people, such as Ruby's sisters, have come forward saying how they've tried to do as much as they could behind the scenes, legally at least, and that Ruby had also cut them off of their lives all of a sudden, with no explanation at all whatsoever, hence how they weren't aware of what they were doing to these children. They also expressed their disapproval about the Connections podcast that these two hosted, where they would share very malicious parenting advice, as I mentioned, and honestly influence other parents in a very negative way. Recently, Ruby's nephew, Matthew, had also come forward speaking on Ruby and Jodi. Ruby's nephew, Matthew Franke, told Inside Edition recently that he was disgusted and horrified when he learned the details of the case. He also said that he felt like there were no red flags that made the family even consider the possibility that his cousins might have been abused by their mother.
What was your reaction when you heard about these charges?
Disgusted, horrified.
Matthew Franke is Ruby's nephew.
Did you see any red flags that made you think that makes sense?
Not really. We always thought she was kind of weird, like a little bit on the stricter side, but nothing that screamed abuse.
So clearly it seemed like Ruby and Jodi were trying to keep stuff very private and not make anyone really aware of what they were doing, hence why they decided to suddenly cut everyone off and believe that everyone else was just living their life in distortion, as they would preach. Now, this isn't the only update on the 8-passenger situation. Just the other day, Insider Edition published an article titled "A Woman in Jail with Ruby Franke Said She Seemed Smitten with Jodi Hildebrand and Was Upset They Didn't Share a Cell." A woman who shared a jail cell with Ruby Franke for 3 nights said Franke seemed fixated on her YouTube partner Jodi Hildebrand and complained that they were held separately from one another. Deborah Monson, 52, spoke with Insider about her stint in the custody of Washington County Sheriff's Office in Utah at the same time as Franke and Hildebrand. Monson was arrested on August 31st on allegations of petty theft and possession. She told Insider she is innocent and will fight the charges. She was booked the day after Franke and Hildebrand were arrested on suspicion of aggravated child abuse. Monson said she spent around an hour with Hildebrand at the start of her stay in the Purgatory, followed by 3 nights with Franke in a medical area. As of Thursday, both Franke and Hildebrand were listed as still being in the jail. Monson said she had no idea who they were at the time and only realized after she left and her family was talking about them on the drive home. Monson described both Franke and Hildebrand as really tight-lipped, but she said she had a lot of time to observe how Franke behaved. Most notably, she seemed distressed that she and Hildebrand had been separated. She said, "God, how long are they going to keep us in here, and why did they separate me and Jodi?" Monson said. She said, "I can't understand why they separated me and my friend." Franke was really concerned about Hildebrand, she said, and wanted to see her, wanted to talk to her. Monson said Franke was interested after she let her know that she was briefly held alongside Hildebrand. She's like, "Oh, what did she say? How did she act? Did she say anything at all?" She said, and described Franke as almost almost childlike in her manner and almost smitten with Hildebrand. Monson told Franke that Hildebrand seemed pretty distraught and didn't want to talk about anything at all. Jody had obviously been crying a lot. Monson said of her time with Hildebrand, her eyes were really red and swollen and kind of squinted. You could hardly see her eyes, and she looked very distressed. A TikToker also spread information on this article and the theory of Jody and Ruby being lovers or having a secret romantic relationship behind the scenes, which has been a conspiracy theory going around since the start of their Connections podcast together.
There are some TikTokers and people who are displaying different things that look like it could be evidence that these two were in a relationship. Now, if you guys have been following this story, then you know many people think that's the case, because how on earth did this woman convince this one to hurt her kids? And from what we can see, almost seems like she got complete control of her life, like some type of cult leader or Svengali. And people want to know, is there more going on? On top of that, we had Ruby's cellmate speak out, and she said that Ruby acted smitten with Jody and even a little bit obsessed. Like she takes all of her direction from Jody and what's going to happen. So I want you guys to look at this clip. Is it just me, or does Jody kind of give off the vibe? Look at that. Here's the thing, because people could say, oh, they're just friends, whatever. But if you look at the way that they're interacting, especially look at the way that Ruby looks at her. Remember, that cellmate said she looks smitten. There are times that's absolutely what she looks like.
Here were some of the comments under this TikTok. I have had a feeling from the beginning that they were involved. The hand on the knee in that first video that came out of them, I caught that immediately. I had a feeling, I knew it. This is getting crazier every day. Oh my god. This person said, I think she just looks up to her like an idol. The way a follower would look up to, speak about their cult leader, always wants to be around them, etc. Anyways guys, this has been the update on the 8 passenger situation. I definitely want to know what you guys think about these updates. Let me know in the comments down below. I love you guys so much, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.